It's not every day that there's a game-changing introduction. And yes, we know there's been some pretty innovative solutions that have come by in the last 12 months. But what about changing the entire way we look at things? Instead of changing the radio, we just want to update the screen size. Imagine that. Well, Rdvfl has been very hardworking at providing solutions for specifically this purpose, and that is upgrading your screen to a larger size, getting a lot of new features without losing any of your factory features from the original setup of your vehicle. Today we've got CEO Rich DeSclafani joining us to tell us what this new thought process is all about. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM, and it starts now. And welcome back to the show. We've got our man Rich joining us today. Rich, welcome to Connected. And we've got an interesting topic. This may be new for a lot of people, but this is certainly a hot topic right now because it's a category that didn't exist before. So what we're talking about, Rich, is the fact that you've come up with a line of screen upgrade solutions. So before we get too deep into it, why don't you tell us what that actually means? Define what that means for us.
Yes, thank you, Ben. As always, pleasure sitting here with you, talking with you, man. It's always a pleasure. Love doing it. And glad to be able to be on here talking about our screen upgrade category. And yes, this is completely different than anything else out there. So essentially what we're doing is we're keeping the factory radio and just upgrading the screen. So it gives you the ability to use the factory radio through the new screen. And it's something that hasn't been done before. Pretty much at all, especially at this level with the American vehicles and the trucks and cars that we're catering to.
Okay, so this is going to open up a whole kind of questioning that I have lined up for you here. A lot of people are going to ask these in the comments, but I'm going to do my best to ask the questions on behalf of the dealers and the folks tuning in. Let's look at this from a pros and cons scenario, right? So let's talk about the pros first. What am I gaining by doing a screen upgrade? Obviously you're getting a bigger screen, but what are we gaining here with this?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of pros and very few cons, honestly. So not only are you getting a much bigger, higher resolution screen, depending on the application of the vehicle, you may be getting wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, which the vehicle didn't have before. You get the ability to add additional cameras and video inputs. You get the ability to download whatever video streaming apps you want to it, YouTube, Hulu, Netflix, Sling. So you have all of these additional applications that are available that were not available before. And it gives you the ability to use it without an actual phone being connected because you could put a SIM card in it. You could use the built-in maps and you could use all of the built-in features that the screen offers without actually having to use a phone. So even if, you say you have a truck and you go off-roading and you're somewhere, out in the country and there's no service, there's no signal, you could download offline maps directly to the screen and you can utilize those in rural areas where there's no cell signal, where there's no data information available. And because it has a GPS antenna connected, you can use all of those, mapping features offline and really, really gives you a ton more stuff than the vehicle had originally while keeping all of the factory features. So you don't lose anything and you gain all the stuff.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Let's just stay on the track of the pros because I got some questions. So I'm going to assume that these new screen upgrades come with its own operating system, like an Android system, to give you access to a Play Store. How does that work?
Correct. Yeah, they're all Android based, either Android 13 or 14 at this point. They're all running Qualcomm Snapdragon processors, so they're very fast, very responsive, very reliable. Obviously, Qualcomm's a U.S. company, so we're using U.S. chipsets in there, and really, really fast and a lot of processing power and really, really good units.
So we understand your factory OS stays intact while you're supplementing a secondary system with that Android system that you're talking about, just to be clear about that.
Correct.
And because of that, you have access to Google Play Store, which then gives you access to the YouTubes and all that good stuff, right?
Correct. Yes.
And in some cases, depending on the application, don't worry, we'll talk about applications afterwards. But in certain applications, you also gain the benefit of wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, right?
Yes. Yep. Okay. Absolutely.
These are all amazing pros. Add to that a huge screen upgrade, and depending on the application, there are some big jumps in size, which we're going to get into for sure. Okay, so on high level, these are some of the benefits. You know, if customers coming in, they want a bigger screen, they want wireless CarPlay, they want to have video applications, camera, so on and so forth. It checks all those boxes. What are some of the drawbacks?
Okay, so I mean, realistically, the only drawback that comes along with these, if you can consider it a drawback, depending on how you're looking at the scenario, is that there's no audio outputs. We have no pre-outs. There's no RCA outputs. There's no Toslink output because we're not actually changing the radio itself. There's no outputs from the screen. So anybody that's looking to add, you know, a system, amplifiers, change out any of the factory audio equipment, you're still going to need a preamp in lieu of actual RCA outputs from the radio or screen.
Okay, I'm going to chime in here. I don't think that's technically a drawback. The reason I say that is in a lot of these vehicles, you don't have an option to change the radio anyways. So if you wanted to upgrade your system, you would need some type of interface / preamp. Now, I know Rdvfl makes a bunch of preamps for different applications, but like whether you're doing an LC, you know, an audio control piece or whatever amplifier that you want to upgrade, depending on the platform we're talking about, many of these that you're providing screen upgrade solutions to don't even have a traditional source unit replacement option anyways. So that whole idea that your upgrade system doesn't have that audio output feature isn't necessarily a downfall. It's just maybe a clarification on an expectation because you're not changing the factory radio. You're simply upgrading the screen. I myself, Rich, have had many months to digest this, and I still haven't totally wrapped my head around it yet. So bear with me. I'm sure I'm not alone as we work through this conversation. Okay, so a couple different layers to this, right? I'm a store. I want to offer this awesome, cool upgrade to a customer, a potential customer. Have you done the cost analysis to only upgrading the screen versus if that vehicle actually had an option to upgrade? Like, what is the you know? Are we in the same ballpark? Is this should I expect a elevated kind of cost? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely in the same ballpark. Traditionally, full radio replacements in those vehicles only come with a 1-year warranty as well. So not only is the pricing very similar, better, maybe a little worse in some cases, depending on the application and what's available, but none of those options come with a 3-year warranty. So there's a massive value in the 3-year warranty alone. So if you compare, you know, prices pretty much equal, well, you have 2 years additional warranty. That's massive because, you know, I mean, if you buy a radio replacement and it fails a year and a half later, well, you're stuck. Well, you have a 3-year warranty, my product. If it fails 2 years in, then I'll replace it. No questions asked because we stand behind our product and you get, you know, 3 times the warranty of any other solution that's out there. So even from a cost standpoint, even if it's equal, you're still getting a much bigger value with the screen.
I want to take note of something here. You know, if you're doing a full source unit replacement, you know, there are a lot more components involved, right? You're talking about sound processing, you're talking about pre-amplifiers, you're talking about, you know, digital analog converters, analog to digital converters, in some cases some DSP. There's a lot more going on.
Oh, absolutely.
All of which your unit doesn't even touch. So therefore, what I'm not saying because your unit has less, but it's more simple, therefore more reliable. Just physics alone, right?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. I mean, you know, it's so much less intrusive into the vehicle's data system. We're not communicating with the amplifier. We're not communicating with the vehicle in lieu of the radio being removed. So we eliminate all of those failure points with this product because some of these vehicles, like, you know, the 19 and up Silverado and Sierra, for example, or the new Sync 4, the new F series, I'm not even aware of any radio replacements at all for those vehicles, especially if they have the Bose or, you know, the new Fords. There's nothing out there. So, I mean, we're the only ones that are pioneering a solution for these vehicles and keeping it super simple and installation easy, non-intrusive into the vehicle, eliminating all of those failure points from climate controls.
Well, let's talk about that.
I mean,
hold on. I'm going to stop you there. Let's break that down. Let's talk about that installation, like how easy it is. What are we talking about as far as it? Obviously, we're going to remove, you know, the original screen. Let's get past that part. What about the actual wires and the plugging? How does this work?
Yeah, so I mean, depending on the application, you know, some have a little bit more going on than others. On the most simplistic side, for the most part, like the 19 and up Silverado Sierra solution, It's literally 2 or 3 T harnesses that you're going to use, and then 1 or 2 factory plugs plug directly into the screen, and then you just transfer all the components over. So it's literally like a 2 or 3 T harness plug-in solution.
No,
I mean, it's
no splicing, no additional
nope.
wiring. Everything's in the kit.
Correct.
Click, click,
Everything's
click.
in the kit. It all plugs in. You don't have to hardwire anything. There's no additional running wires anywhere. You're literally not going anywhere other than right there where the factory screen was in the dash. You know, you have a GPS antenna and a couple 4G antennas that you have to mount, you know, underneath the dash pad, just so this way at least you have signal. But as far as disassembly and running wires, there's really nothing. I mean,
Amazing.
You don't have to run an aftermarket mic. These don't come with an aftermarket mic.
Because you're using the factory mic from the original system.
Correct. They're all capable of using the factory Bluetooth for phone calls. All the audio portion runs through either the factory Bluetooth streaming wise or through the aux. So you're not having any issues as far as sound quality with phone calls. There's no aftermarket mic. So it's such a nice solution in that regard as well, because it doesn't look like you're adding anything aftermarket to the vehicle because there's no additional stuff hanging around.
So all the factory chimes, like as you would expect to work, will continue working.
100%. Yeah, because the factory radio is there. We don't handle the audio at all. We do not handle any of the factory audio. So door chimes, seatbelt chimes, audio coming out of the radio to the amplifier. Since we're not replacing the radio, we don't have to send audio to the factory amp. We don't have to handle the door chimes. So we eliminate all those failure points. There's no satellite radio module. There's no factory camera adapter. There are all these different components and parts that are all potential failure points or all potential points of issue where you could run into problems are completely all eliminated. So it's such a much more reliable solution, and it's so much more I guess you could say dealer friendly, because say you're installing this in a brand new 26 on the dealership lot. Well, they don't have to worry about software updates. They don't have to worry about communicating with the vehicle because the radio is gone or any of that stuff.
It's non-intrusive.
The radio's still there.
It's non-intrusive.
Exactly.
It's like a supplementary piggyback kind of situation.
Exactly, because you have 2 radios now. You have your factory radio you still use through the new screen, plus you have all the features of the new source unit itself. And really, this is the way moving forward of the future, because it's getting harder and harder to communicate with the vehicle and the amplifier in lieu of the radio being gone. So your options for changing the radio, are pretty few and far between. I mean, we're in 2026 right now. The Silverado and Sierra has been out since 2019. There's still not a radio replacement option for those unless you change the factory amplifier.
Right.
That's the only way to actually do any type of radio replacement. You have to swap the factory amp. So imagine having to spend way more money, way more labor, hours and hours and hours, plus have all those potential failure points, bringing your truck to the dealership going, man, where's your radio? Your radio's gone. Your amplifier's gone. We can't communicate with the vehicle properly. We can't do software updates.
Here comes the finger pointing to our dealers.
Exactly. And dealerships don't want to deal with that stuff.
Right.
So imagine, the truck runs into the dealership for warranty or for service or whatever. And they're like, wow, man, look at that screen. That thing's amazing. Oh my God, there's no issues here. There's no communication
and it
problems.
looks factory. And we're going to show you guys exactly what this looks like soon.
Yeah, I mean, the aesthetics is a whole nother, a whole nother side to it. But I mean, just the non-intrusive nature to the vehicle is, for me, being in the industry for so long and seeing all of the horror stories and nightmares the past, 5, 6, 7, 8 years in the screen upgrade or the radio replacement category for all these vehicles, the Tesla style radios. Anybody that has done one in the last few years knows about the issues that have come along with them,
and lots of module costs and extra costs involved, and it's not just
labor,
selling the radio anymore.
Correct. It's so much extra labor. It's so much extra time configuring and tweaking and updating and getting everything to work and communicate properly is so difficult because you have all these different components, digital cameras, satellite radio. I mean, there's just so much going on. It's such a great solution and such a great, it's a great problem to solve. is having all of those issues eliminated from the equation was just very satisfying, especially for me, being in the industry for so long, coming from the installation side and knowing the challenges that go into that stuff. It was just really refreshing going, wow, this is going to be amazing, because this eliminates all of the problems and failure points that this category has been dealing with for all these years.
All right. On that note, we're talking with Rich Desclafani, CEO of Rdvfl. We're talking this new emerging category called screen upgrades versus the entire source unit replacement. We're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, let's dive into some of the applications and some of the cool features that Rich's Products has in store. We'll be right back.
Hey, Paul with SiriusXM here, and with 3 easy steps, you can maximize your business. Number 1, make sure you have the current promotional material up. Understand the offer, make sure your team knows it. 2, have a unit on display. Set the presets to different genres so you can recommend and play the music that your customer listens to. And number 3, think about this. Most vehicles you're replacing the head unit with already has a SiriusXM tuner in it. So adding it just requires an antenna adapter, a SiriusXM tuner. It's a 30-second install and you're done. So there it is, guys. 3 easy steps to maximize every sale this season with SiriusXM.
All right, so thanks for coming back here. We're talking screen replacement upgrades. Now, Rich, in the first part of the show, we talked about, some of the benefits, not many drawbacks, and really a better understanding of what these products are offering, what these solutions are offering. I wanted to take the second half to kind of show the folks at home or talk about the physicality, right? And some of the things you might be curious about of how this is actually going to look. So what example would you use from a vehicle that's kind of like a trouble vehicle that this is providing an amazing solution for?
So I would definitely say like the Ford F-Series vehicles from 2016 to 2021, which is what this application covers. Sync 3 vehicles or Sync 3 F-Series vehicles with regular sync as well, 4-inch or 8-inch, as long as it has sync. And one of the biggest problems that everybody has had is handling the climate control in those vehicles. That's been a major failure point. Anytime you do any, big upgrades like this, that's been an issue that a lot of dealers have experienced and have reiterated to me that was a concern for them as far as reliability and userability of the upgrade, because once the climate control stops functioning, you lose AC, you lose heat, and if you're up north or you're down south and it's really hot or really cold, that could be even detrimental to your health.
It can be, especially where you live.
Yeah. Or even, up north, up where north, you live.
Yeah.
During the winter, man, listen, you come out early in the morning and you got no heat, man. You can't, it's 10 degrees or less.
So this Ford is obviously a huge platform. There's a million of these trucks out there. And so what is the factory screen size? What are we talking about?
So the factory screen size is either 4-inch or 8-inch.
What? They make a 4-inch on a $50,000 truck?
Yes. You can imagine how small 4 inches is. Nobody's happy with 4 inches.
No,
okay? Nobody. No.
Especially not when you're spending that kind of money on a vehicle like that. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
In today's world.
And the size of the dash, it's not only the amount you spend. Listen, if it was a Civic or an Accord or something, a Corolla, that size screen in that dash.
It's a full-size truck we're talking about here.
Right. I mean, the dash is massive.
And you're massive.
You have this tiny little.
And you know what? You're also
my cell phone's bigger.
You're also far from the dash, like arm's reach, like because it's so wide.
Yeah.
You're not in a compact vehicle. You want to be able to interface with your vehicle easily. So, okay, show me what you got. What solution do you have?
Yes, because imagine having to look at that tiny screen. You're better off with your cell phone there. Right, so this is our solution for the Sync 3 F-Series vehicles from 16 to 21. So if you see here on the bottom, this is where the OEM climate controls transfer over. So we do not actually handle the climate information. We do not interrupt the factory climate controls at all. The board, the climate control circuit board, transfers over here. This comes off, and you transfer the whole circuit board with the climate controls in it to our trim. So this way, we're not handling the actual factory climate controls. They stay intact. There's two versions. This comes with two different trim pieces, depending on whether you have the digital or analog climate controls. But that was one of the huge failure points that everybody had stressed about to us, was the factory climate controls failing and causing, of course, a lot of issues with customers, because now they don't have climate control and it's very inconvenient. And of course, stuff like that always happens at the worst time. So being able to take the factory climate controls and transfer them over to our trim is a huge, huge deal. And there's no ribbon involved either. Some people have asked about ribbon cables, and I don't know if there's probably maybe some other kits, radio replacement or something, that require ribbon cables. We do not require any ribbon cables. And these are the OEM climate controls that are transferring over. So it's not our climate controls that we're retrofitting in to work with the factory climate controls. The factory controls transfer over to our trim. I just want to stress that. I can't stress it enough, because even when I tell people that, they seem to not believe it. They just can't comprehend that the OEM climate controls are retained. So you do not have that as a failure point. Even if the screen somehow, some way, for some reason stopped working, the climate controls will still work, because they're factory and they're not running through the screen. The screen has no effect or bearing on the climate controls. So, I really wanted to stress that, because that's been
I'm guilty, because I didn't understand that part either. Right?
Yeah,
a couple times.
And it's okay, because this is brand new. This is new stuff. It's a new category, and it's hard for people to wrap their head around. Wait a minute, the factory radio is still in there, and wait a minute, you can use the factory radio through the new screen, so it's been a challenge to get people to understand the differences between these products.
It's new. It's different.
Stuff.
It's new. It's different. It's a different thought process.
Yep.
And therefore it comes with its own set of expectations. So I think hopefully with a video like this, people can get a better understanding of what you're trying to do here, because it is drastically different from the traditional thought process of upgrading a vehicle's source unit. Okay, so
yep.
we talked about pros, we talked about benefits. You showed us, how it, the fit and finish, the size of the screen, all these good things. The Android base, the CarPlay, the Android Auto. Let's talk about applications. What are some of the hottest applications that are going right now for the screen replacement program?
Definitely, I would say Ford and GM. For sure. The 19 and up Silverado is a really, really popular platform, because, like we said, there's no actual, viable radio replacement options for those vehicles. So it retains all the features and everything else. So this has been a great solution. The Ford Sync 3 has also been another really, really great solution. Very attractive, because it keeps the factory climate controls and everything. And that's been a great selling product. And both of those platforms are, probably the best selling vehicles in the US. So that makes a lot of sense there. I'm sure the Sync 4 piece is going to be very, very popular as well. Again, another vehicle with no options to change the radio at all. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about this category moving forward. It's been solid and reliable, and all the products that we've put out so far have really knocked it out the park. So yeah, I'm just super happy and really excited.
On that point,
sell a lot.
Can you share with us maybe a couple applications you might be working on, or that you've had some demand on down the pipe?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The Sync 4 is one of our newest ones. We also just released, which isn't actually been officially put out there yet, but we just released screen upgrades for Lexus as well. So that's going to be a huge category for us. But yeah, definitely the Sync 4. I'm working on Sync 2 for Ford, so some of the older Fords as well. Working on some other GM platforms also that I get requests for. So working to expand the lineup exponentially, just, taking it one at a time, slowly, making sure everything's working properly. We put a lot of effort into the R&D and making sure everything's working 100% before we release it. We don't really want to put these out there as beta pieces for everybody to test. So we take our time, and we're not the quickest to market with stuff, but we take a lot of time and effort to make sure that the stuff works as best as possible before we put it out there.
All right. So again, we're talking about screen replacement upgrades. Rdvfl.com is the website you want to go to. You can enter your vehicle, your make and model. It'll show you all the solutions that Rdvfl offers for that platform. More specifically, you can check out the screen replacement section as well to see if there's something in there for you. Lots of pictures there, so you see the before and after. And hopefully with this broadcast, you get a better understanding of this new category that we're entering into. Rich, what last message do you have for dealers that or folks tuning in curious? What message do you have for them?
Yeah, I mean, listen, don't be scared of this product because of past failures in this category. That's one of the biggest, questions that I get. Is it reliable? Is it going to work? Is it the same as this one or the same as that one? The answer is no, it's not the same as anybody else's. It's very reliable because it's a screen upgrade only and not a full radio replacement. We stand behind the product 100% with a 3-year warranty, which nobody else in this category even comes close to. That's a testament to the quality of the product and our belief in not only the product, but the category moving forward and the hardware and software platform that we've built this on. So yeah, please do not shy away from this category because of past negative experiences. Give us a try. We stand behind the product. We have great support. And we will take care of you 100% with any of your questions or needs or, any help you need during the installation. So yeah, please don't shy away from this category. It's only going to get bigger and bigger, and we're only going to keep improving.
Well, there you have it, guys. Check it out. Screen upgrades, not radio replacement, but screen upgrades, courtesy of Rdvfl. Hey, Rich, thank you for coming in today and talking to us about this new category.
Of course,
that's
Ben.
a wrap. Again, take a look. I know there's a lot of troublesome platforms out there, but it looks like the guys at Rdvfl have kind of figured it out. So check it out for yourself, rdvfl.com. That's it for this CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.